Hello, dear ones. I just wanted to do a quick perimenopause update. And I'm going to do another one later in the week because I'm going to a new doctor that is a specialist in trans hormone care. And I'm really, really hopeful that I'm going to get some wonderful information there. But I just wanted to give you the where we're at now heading into that. So, I have been for many years taking a low dose of testosterone um, topical gel, 10 milligrams. I take 2 pumps of this daily. And I started with that. I happen to have already identified as trans and non-binary, but I wasn't so much looking for secondary sex characteristic changes except for top surgery. So I got top surgery like 5 years ago. And that was the main physical change that I was interested in. But I was struggling with perimenopause symptoms, specifically super heavy bleeding, um, mood changes, sleep disruption, and hot flashes. And when I did the research, my doctor's sort of first line of defense was antidepressants and birth control pills. And both of those have a possibility of increasing um, SI. Um, uh, Thinking about not being here. I'm careful not to say those words so that I can put this on YouTube. Um, so I was trying to avoid increasing SI. And then I read the book, What Fresh Hell Is This by Heather Grenna, which is excellent. And they are also a non-binary person. So that was pretty cool to read a book that wasn't just like focused on like women, 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 but was more inclusive of just people who have ovaries or uterus or who menstruate. So they had described that taking a low dose of testosterone can actually like reduce those the heavy bleeding, the mood stuff, thus improve sleep, can help with hot flashes. So I started there in order to avoid increasing SI. It was super effective in all of those things, but I think that the dose that I was given was higher than I would have been given if I was just identifying as a cis woman. And I got things that I didn't want, my voice lowered, I have facial hair and like a ton more body hair, and fat distribution has changed. Um, I'm like okay with that. It's not my first choice. At some point, I might like to get laser hair removal on my face because it's itchy for me and just like sensory uncomfortable. And so I do shave it, but shaving is the sensory. I don't like the sensory experience of shaving. So it's sort of like I'd rather just not have that there. And then also, I've had ongoing throat pain since my voice changed. So I'm trying to get in to see a speech pathologist and do my own speech pathology exercises because I am a licensed SLP, but I've had ongoing throat pain the whole time since then. So that was a bummer. Anyways, that was working fine though in terms of the sleep and the hot flashes and the mood stuff and the heavy periods. I stopped having my period. I stopped having hot flashes. I was sleeping great and I was feeling solid mood wise. So I was super happy in terms of that for many years. And then this past year, I am now 46. It all got worse again, just like all that stuff kicked back up, not the bleeding, but everything else, the mood and the hot flashes. And then along with it, like super crushing fatigue, insomnia, and severe like pain. So I've always had neck pain my whole life, but now it's like a 10 out of 10, 100% of the time. So I was like, I need help again. I went to several of my doctors. They're all like, I don't know, because they are concerned about my mental health history and kicking up the SI stuff with estrogen, and also concerned about me being trans and the interactions with my low dose of testosterone. So finally, I found someone at MIDI Health, which is like a covered by some insurance that I had to pay out of pocket. It was definitely worth it because they were willing to work with me, and they started me at a patch and then a progesterone only birth control for the progesterone because both of those had like lower chances of kicking up the mental health stuff. So I have been on the patch for a couple of months, started seeing everything improve. Oh, the other thing that was like I was at my wit's end this past year was dryness. So eye dryness, which was causing me ongoing all day irritation and pain, and vaginal dryness, which was making it really hard for me to sit and walk comfortably. And I walk every day. So that was like unacceptable. And I had been doing vaginal estrogen since starting the testosterone, but that was no longer keeping up with it. So I switched to the patch and the norethindrone, which is the progesterone only birth control. I started having like fantastic improvements in the dryness, no dry eyes, no dry vaginal dryness. Um, I found out about Replens, which is an amazing company that sells over the counter. This is uh, long lasting vaginal moisturizer. This one is like intravaginal, so you insert it. And then an external comfort cream. I cut this because there's a little bit left over on the bottom and I'm just wanting to use it all. External comfort gel that you can put on externally. Fantastic. This is the only thing that has worked for me in that sense. But so I was having such great improvements, but I was having welts, like big, angry, red, swollen, painful welts from the patch. And I found out that it was related to um, uh, late adhesive allergy. So I told my doctor and was offered estrogen gel, which I thought, oh, that would be great because I already take testosterone gel. I don't have to deal with the patch. Like, great, let's try it. So I did that for the past month and everything tanked again to the point of like I was feeling like dying. Like I finally realized what was going on because I was like found myself sobbing hysterically 2 weeks ago to a show that like I don't really cry much in my life anymore. And I was like screaming, crying, and like nobody loves me and my life is worthless and like all this stuff. And I was like, oh, I think this is because of the estrogen gel must not be absorbing well, which I guess for some people gels don't absorb consistently, which was one of the concerns they had early on about the testosterone gel, but it seems to do fine for the testosterone, but it was not working for the estrogen. So I reached back out to the doctor and they were like, we could increase the gel. And I was like, I don't think the gel's going to work. So I still had some leftover patches, the estradiol transdermal patch. So I was like, let me go back on the patch, see if it helps. So I put one on last week and uh it it was yesterday when I was like, okay, I think I might be coming back online. I'm still having a lot of pain. I'm still having hot flashes. I'm still like sleep is iffy, but mood is starting to like come out. Like that crushing fatigue is starting. I'm starting to emerge from. It felt like I had the worst flu of my life for the past month. Um, so I think that the patch is going to work. And what I found out from some friends is that you can put Flonase. This is like a generic one. Um, fluticasone propionic Flonase. Um, Spray it on the spot where you're going to put the patch, and it might help you to not get allergic. It worked for this past week. My doctor also said you could put hydrocortisone. Hold on. This dry throat is also from the estrogen, from not getting the estrogen. It's like dryness. It's like shriveling up like a raisin at every part of my body. So my throat has been like extra sore on top of always being sore. So my doctor also said you could put hydrocortisone cream for an hour before you put the patch on, then wipe it off and then put the patch on. So let's see. I'm, gonna be back on the patch. I already am starting to feel better. Let's give it a couple of weeks, see if I start to really turn a corner, and then I will know that I'm a person who does better on the patch. And I've still kept the norethindrone, the um, progesterone only birth control. I haven't started bleeding again. I'm thinking about reducing the testosterone over time gradually, because as I have tried to talk to every doctor, like more and more and more about what is it that is happening for me, what am I dealing with, like what is my version of hormones and how can I understand it and help myself, because I don't want to be like making it worse by taking the testosterone if the testosterone was only trying to make it better now that I'm also taking the estrogen and progesterone. So I'm trying to work that out. I'm hoping the trans health person is going to help me with that. Um, when I've talked to other doctors, there's this question mark and they don't know of like, am I taking enough testosterone to suppress my estrogen, but not getting a stable dose of the other estrogen? So I'm operating with low levels of both testosterone and estrogen, which can lead to like more systemic issues, and that maybe my testosterone dose is high enough to suppress my estrogen, but not high enough to replace its role in my body's regulation. So if I was taking a high enough dose of testosterone, like one that would typically be prescribed for trans men, then I would totally effectively like switch my system so that my system would then be testosterone dominant and it wouldn't be depending on estrogen to help me like regulate certain systems. I would still quite possibly have vaginal dryness, and maybe a few other things, but they said like question mark on the fatigue and the mood. So it's like it's tricky that I'm in this in between because the testosterone is suppressing my estrogen and then perimenopause is reducing my estrogen. And so it's like if I could maybe do less of the testosterone, then I could get more fuller doses of estrogen, or I could switch to just do the testosterone and do it in a higher level so that I am switching my body over from being estrogen dominant to being testosterone dominant. And that is what I'm hoping the trans health specialist can help me sort out, because I'm not like, I don't need the testosterone personally in terms of like gender affirming care. Um, and I would just like to feel like more steady in terms of my mood and sleep, um, and the dryness. So I think I'd prefer to be estrogen dominant at this point. And how can we like get me there? So that's my update. Also eye drops for the eye dryness. My eye doctor said I could take eye drops. This is Ivisia, that I could do this every hour. So I've been doing that. Oh, and then also I was getting eczema around my eyes because of the dryness, and this Vanna cream. I tried a whole bunch of different things, and this is the only one that has worked in helping around my eyes. They were getting like scabby around because of the like leak, like teariness because of the dryness, and it was all like exacerbating it. So that has helped with that. And I think that's everything that I've got here. Like I was previously a person who would like use dish soap to wash my whole body and like generic lotion. Now I have all these potions and creams to try to stay on this planet. Um, if you are experiencing this, it might just hurt and it goes out to you. And I'm sending you so much patience and just love. There's a beautiful book. This is Body Grief that's also been helping me, and The Future is Disabled, which has also been helping me just to remind myself like health is not related to morality. That is something that was invented by ableist culture, and not feeling well is not because you're bad or not trying hard enough. Not feeling well is just a part of having a body, and being on this planet. And yeah, sending you so much love on the journey. All right, take gentle care.